Do your knees creak and protest with every move you make? That excruciating pain, as if someone were sticking needles in your joints, making even the simple act of getting out of bed a real ordeal? I totally understand what you're going through. Like Eleanor, a 71-year-old retiree from Chicago, who told me how her life had turned into a never-ending string of limitations. My fingers were so swollen and sore in the morning that I couldn't even button my own blouse, she confessed to me with tears in her eyes. My husband needed to help me with such basic tasks that I always did alone. I felt like my independence was being stolen, one day at a time. Eleanor had tried everything: prescription drugs that caused terrible side effects, painful injections that provided only temporary relief, and even those magnetic bracelets that promise miracles but deliver disappointment. I felt trapped, she told me, as if my own body was betraying me more and more with each passing day. After more than 25 years of helping people just like you overcome arthritis pain, I discovered something that completely changed the lives of Eleanor and thousands of other patients. Today, I'm going to share the simple approach that helped Eleanor get back to knitting for her grandchildren and whipping up her famous apple pies without groaning in pain. And best of all, it doesn't require invasive surgeries, expensive medications, or complicated exercises. If you've been suffering from osteoarthritis pain for months or even decades, the next few minutes can completely transform your life. Today, I'm going to reveal a surprising truth about something you probably consume every day without realizing it may be fueling inflammation in your joints. I'm going to introduce you to 4 specific types of nuts that can be your powerful allies against osteoarthritis, and 4 other types that, surprisingly, may be making your condition drastically worse. This information is rarely shared by conventional doctors, but it can make an extraordinary difference in your quality of life. Before we start, I would like to know, have you ever tried changing your diet to try to improve the symptoms of your osteoarthritis? Type yes in the comments if you've tried any nutritional approaches. Type no if this is a completely new idea to you. And if the health of your joints is important to you or someone you love, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Forever Young Tips channel to receive candid, scientifically based advice, specially designed for adults over 60. Let's start our journey to healthier joints and a life with less pain. Did you know that more than 54 million Americans suffer from some form of arthritis, with osteoarthritis being the most common of all? And most shockingly, recent research from Harvard University found that certain foods can increase joint inflammation by up to 73% in just 48 hours after consumption. This information completely changed my approach to treating patients with osteoarthritis. First, let's understand what really happens inside your joints when arthrosis develops. Contrary to what many believe, arthrosis is not simply a natural wear and tear that comes with age. It's a complex inflammatory process where the cartilage that protects your joints begins to deteriorate, leading to painful friction between the bones. This inflammation can be significantly influenced by what you eat each day. Think of your joints as the hinge of a heavily used door. Without proper lubrication, it starts to creak, jam, and eventually break. Your food can be that vital lubricant that keeps everything running smoothly. I need to pause here for a moment and ask something important. When was the last time someone truly understood how osteoarthritis pain affects not only their body, but their entire life? The way she steals precious moments. The frustration of not being able to open a simple jar lid, or the sadness of saying no to the invitation to go on a walk with your grandchildren because your joints simply couldn't take it that day. I know that for many of you, this has been a silent struggle. People see you smiling despite the pain, but they don't see those mornings when you have to muster all your strength just to get out of bed. I want you to know that I see you. This community sees you. And your experience is profoundly important. At this time, in the comments below, I would like you to share which food you suspect may be making your osteoarthritis worse. You can simply copy and paste. I suspect Madri Yubaos makes my arthritis worse. Your comment may be just what someone else needs to read today to feel less alone in their struggle. Because sometimes knowing that someone understands your specific pain is the first step to healing. So please take a moment now to share your experience below. I read all the comments as well as thousands of other people who are walking this same difficult path. Now, let's go to the 4 nuts that can be your best allies in the fight against osteoarthritis. And I want you to pay close attention because this information could revolutionize the way you deal with joint pain. The first surprisingly beneficial nut is pecans. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2024 found that pecans contain exceptionally high concentrations of antioxidants that specifically target inflammatory markers associated with osteoarthritis. Thomas, a 68-year-old former sailor from Seattle, began including only a small serving of pecans in his breakfast daily. After only 3 weeks, I realized that I wasn't taking my painkillers as often anymore, he told me during an appointment. The morning stiffness in my fingers decreased so much that I went back to playing the guitar, something I had abandoned more than 5 years ago. What makes pecans so special is their unique combination of omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidant compounds called ellagics, which work together to reduce cartilage degradation. These compounds penetrate synovial fluid, that fluid that lubricates your joints, and help restore their protective function. Most people don't realize that consuming just 7 pecans per day can reduce inflammatory markers by up to 28% in individuals with mild to moderate osteoarthritis. Look for raw pecans, not the caramelized or sugary varieties, which can increase inflammation rather than reduce it. The second powerful nut to fight arthrosis are Brazil nuts, also known as Brazil nuts. These nuts are the most selenium-rich food found in nature, a crucial mineral that many people with osteoarthritis are deficient in. Margaret, a 75-year-old retired librarian from Portland, suffered from severe osteoarthritis in her knees. Climbing stairs had become so painful that I was considering moving to a ground-floor apartment, she explained to me. After incorporating just 2 Brazil nuts into her daily diet, Margaret noticed significant changes in just 6 weeks. The pain didn't go away completely, but it went down from an unbearable 9 to a manageable 4 on the pain scale, she reported happily. The science behind it is fascinating. The selenium in Brazil nuts activates specific antioxidant enzymes in your joints that protect cartilage from oxidative damage. A study from the University of Michigan showed that patients with adequate selenium levels experienced a 41% slower progression of osteoarthritis compared to those deficient in this mineral. However, here is an important warning that few know. Consume a maximum of 2 Brazil nuts per day. Excess selenium can cause toxicity and worsen inflammation. This is a rare case where more is not necessarily better. The third medicinal nut is almonds, especially those with skin. The brown skin of almonds contains polyphenolic compounds that have been shown to inhibit the same inflammatory pathways that many arthritis medications target, but without the side effects. Robert, an 82-year-old former teacher from Denver, had tried several treatments for osteoarthritis in his hands. I got to the point where I couldn't write a simple letter to my grandchildren anymore, he shared with me. After incorporating a handful of almonds into his daily diet, combined with a reduction in inflammatory foods that we'll discuss shortly, Robert experienced a transformation. In 2 months, I was able to resume my handwriting. It may not seem like much to most people, but being able to handwrite letters to my grandchildren again brought tears to my eyes, he confessed. Almonds work in a variety of ways to fight osteoarthritis. First, they're rich in magnesium, a mineral that many older Americans are deficient in, and that is crucial for cartilage health. Second, they contain vitamin E in the form of alpha-tocopherol, which protects cartilage cells from damage. And third, the monounsaturated fat in almonds helps reduce the production of inflammatory cytokines that degrade your joints. The ideal dose is about 15 almonds a day, preferably raw or lightly roasted with the skin intact. The fourth and final beneficial nut may surprise you. Chia seeds. While they're technically seeds and not nuts, I've included them on this list because many studies show they may be even more potent than traditional nuts for reducing inflammation associated with osteoarthritis. Virginia, a passionate 79-year-old gardener from Miami, had abandoned her garden due to severe arthrosis in her hips and knees. Losing my garden was like losing part of my identity, she told me sadly. After adding 2 tablespoons of chia seeds to her morning yogurt daily, Virginia noticed a gradual but consistent improvement. After approximately 2 months, I was able to return to my garden for short periods. Now, 6 months later, I spend up to 2 hours between my plants without significant pain, she shared emotionally. The secret of chia seeds lies in their impressive omega-3 content, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, which is converted into potent anti-inflammatory compounds in the body. Recent studies from the University of California have shown that these fatty acids can reduce the production of enzymes that degrade cartilage by up to 37%. In addition, chia seeds are rich in bioavailable calcium, which is important for bone health, and antioxidants that fight oxidative stress in the joints. 2 tablespoons daily, hydrated in water or added to smoothies and yogurts, are enough to reap significant benefits. Are you enjoying this information? Like this video if these tips are helping you better understand how diet can impact your osteoarthritis. And keep watching, because now I'm going to reveal the 4 nuts you should avoid at all costs if you suffer from osteoarthritis, something that very few health professionals mention. The first problematic nut for those with osteoarthritis are peanuts. This may shock many people, as peanuts are often promoted as a healthy snack. However, there are 3 serious problems with peanuts for people with osteoarthritis. First, although technically legumes and not nuts, peanuts are often contaminated with a type of fungus that produces aflatoxins, substances that can increase systemic inflammation. Second, peanuts have an unfavorable ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, favoring inflammatory pathways in the body. Third, many people develop mild to moderate sensitivities to peanuts with age, even without a full-blown allergy, which can trigger inflammatory responses. Patricia, a 67-year-old retired accountant from Atlanta, had severe pain in the joints of her hands that inexplicably worsened on certain days. After keeping a detailed food diary, we discovered that she consumed peanut butter almost daily. When I completely eliminated peanuts from my diet, the difference was noticeable in just 10 days, she reported. The redness and swelling in the joints of my fingers decreased significantly. If you love peanuts, consider replacing them with one of the beneficial nuts I mentioned earlier. The second problematic nut is roasted and salted pistachios. While raw pistachios have anti-inflammatory properties, the roasted and salted version found in most grocery stores can be harmful to people with osteoarthritis for 2 main reasons. The high-temperature roasting process creates compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which are known to increase inflammation and accelerate cartilage degradation. In addition, high sodium content can exacerbate fluid retention in the joints, increasing pain and stiffness. James, a 73-year-old retired accountant from Phoenix, was a big fan of pistachios. I ate a handful every day while watching the news, he told me. I never imagined that they could be contributing to my arthrosis. After replacing the roasted and salted pistachios with raw almonds, James noticed a significant improvement in the mobility of his fingers and wrists in approximately 3 weeks. I was able to return to playing the piano, my longtime passion that I had abandoned due to pain, he shared happily. The third nut that can aggravate osteoarthritis is macadamia nuts when consumed in excess. Although they are often promoted as heart-healthy foods, macadamia nuts have the highest fat content among all nuts, with about 21 grams of fat per 28-gram serving. For some people with osteoarthritis, especially those who are overweight, this high fat content can contribute to weight gain by putting more strain on already compromised joints. Additionally, macadamia nuts contain a relatively high proportion of omega-6 fatty acids compared to omega-3s, which can promote inflammatory pathways in the body when consumed in large amounts. Elizabeth, a 69-year-old retired nurse from San Diego, loved macadamia nuts and consumed them daily in large quantities. I thought I was doing something healthy for my body, she told me. After significantly reducing her consumption of macadamias and replacing them with pecans, Elizabeth lost 7 kilograms over 3 months and noticed a considerable reduction in the pain of her knees. I still eat macadamias occasionally as a special treat, but limiting it to just a few at a time and not every day, she explained. This balance seems to work well for her without triggering inflammation in her joints. The fourth and final problematic nut for people with osteoarthritis is oil-roasted cashew nuts. Cashews themselves are not inherently inflammatory, but the way they are typically processed and consumed can create problems. Most commercially available cashews are roasted in low-quality vegetable oils that are rich in pro-inflammatory omega-6 fats. In addition, they often contain additives such as monosodium glutamate, MSG, and artificial flavorings that can trigger inflammatory responses in sensitive people. William, a 78-year-old retired plumber from Boston, suffered from severe arthrosis in his shoulders and hands after decades of demanding physical labor. Roasted cashews were my favorite snack while watching baseball games, he told me. After eliminating this snack from his diet, William experienced a significant reduction in the morning stiffness of his joints. The difference was so noticeable that my wife, who was initially skeptical about the connection, became a staunch advocate of the nutritional approach to managing my arthritis, he shared with a smile. It's important to note that the inflammation caused by these problematic foods doesn't just affect your joints. Recent research from the Mayo Clinic indicates that chronic inflammation is also linked to an increased risk of heart problems, cognitive decline, and even certain cancers. Therefore, making these changes to your diet can benefit your overall health, not just your joints. Now let's talk about how to incorporate this information into a practical plan that you can start implementing today. Here's a simple 3-step method that has helped thousands of my patients reduce their arthritis pain and regain their mobility. Step 1. Phase out problematic nuts. Don't try to make all the changes at once, as this can be overwhelming. Start by removing one type of nut per week, replacing it with one of the beneficial options we've discussed. For example, in the first week, replace peanuts with almonds. In the second week, replace roasted cashews with chia seeds, and so on. Step 2. Incorporate the beneficial nuts into your daily routine consistently. Consistency is key here. Develop the habit of consuming a small portion of the recommended nuts every day. You can add pecans to your breakfast cereal, put 2 Brazil nuts in a salad for lunch, enjoy some almonds as an afternoon snack, and add chia seeds to your yogurt or smoothie. The important thing is to consume small amounts regularly rather than large portions occasionally. Step 3. Monitor your symptoms using a simple pain and eating diary. On a scale of 1 to 10, write down your pain level every morning and evening along with the foods you have consumed. After 30 days, review your journal to identify patterns. You'll likely notice a correlation between your consumption of certain nuts and your pain levels and mobility. This personalized feedback is invaluable, as each person responds a little differently to dietary changes. Let me share the inspiring story of Harold, a 77-year-old retired college professor from Minneapolis. Harold had suffered from progressive osteoarthritis for more than 15 years. I started with pain in my right knee, which gradually spread to my left, then to my hips, and finally to my hands, he told me during our first appointment. The doctors told me that I would eventually need joint replacements, and that in the meantime I should simply take painkillers to manage the pain. Harold was frustrated with this reactive approach and sought alternatives. When I suggested that he try the 3-step plan I just shared with you, he was skeptical but willing to try. What did I have to lose? He told me. Harold methodically eliminated the problematic nuts from his diet and incorporated the beneficial ones, keeping a meticulous diary as recommended. After 6 weeks, he returned to my office with a smile I hadn't seen in a long time. Something is definitely going on, he reported. The stiffness in my hands has decreased considerably, and the pain in my knees, which I consistently rated 8 out of 10, now fluctuates between 4 and 5. After 3 months of faithfully following the plan, Harold experienced what he calls a life-changing transformation. I went back to playing golf, something I had abandoned 5 years ago due to pain. I can play with my grandchildren without worrying about whether I'll be able to get up the next day, and most surprisingly, my last checkup showed a reduction in inflammatory markers in my blood, which impressed even my skeptical doctor. Harold's story perfectly illustrates that it's never too late to make changes that can significantly transform your quality of life. At the age of 77, he regained mobility and pleasure in activities he thought he had lost forever. And you can too. Let's quickly review what we learned today. The 4 beneficial nuts for people with osteoarthritis are pecans, rich in antioxidants that fight inflammation. Brazil nuts, excellent sources of selenium, remember, only 2 a day. Almonds with skin, containing powerful anti-inflammatory compounds, and chia seeds, which are high in omega-3. The 4 problematic nuts you should avoid are peanuts, due to aflatoxins and unfavorable omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, roasted and salted pistachios, which contain ages and excess sodium, excess macadamia nuts due to the high fat content, and oil-roasted cashew nuts, processed with inflammatory oils and additives. Remember that these dietary changes are not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you take medications regularly. What I'm sharing are complementary approaches that can work alongside your current treatment plan to improve your overall outcomes. Living with arthrosis is not just about managing pain, but about regaining joy in everyday moments. Those simple pleasures like holding the hand of someone you love, grabbing a cup of coffee without wincing in pain, or playing with your grandchildren. I know you've shown incredible courage just by seeking answers, and I want you to know that you're no longer alone on this journey. Here at Forever Young Tips, our community understands exactly what you're going through, because we've walked that path too. Every week I share simple and effective approaches that have helped thousands of people like you find relief without expensive medications or risky surgeries. If you would like to join our family of wellness, simply click on the sign up button below. By doing so, you'll receive practical and gentle guidance straight to your inbox. Tips that work for real people with real arthritis pain. No false promises, no miracle cures, just honest, proven approaches that can help you wake up tomorrow feeling a little better than you did today. Because you deserve to live with less pain and more joy. Sign up now, and let's walk this journey together, one comfortable step at a time. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, please share this video with them. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give to someone who suffers is the hope that things can get better. Until next week, take good care of yourself and remember, Your best joints and your best days are still ahead.